My parents told me that I was such a serious young boy. Never really understood what they meant by that. I remember smiling a lot as a kid, but I also knew I wasn't quite like the other children. I never really had any friends. Everyone that spoke to me referred to me as the young master or the young lord. My brother was always off on some noble quest to save this damsel or slay that beast. When he was old enough, he packed up his stuff and went off to join some mercenary band. Or troubadours. Don't really know. My parents didn't talk about it. They just said that they always knew I would be the one they would leave it all to. I just didn't think that it would happen so soon. I don't think I'm ready for it. But maybe no one really ever is. I was just about to start my first year at the Imperium Academy, and then, out of nowhere, they told me to pack my things and go home. They knew the reason. I could have guessed it if I tried. Maybe I already knew it. The last few days have been a blur. I walked into the castle and no one would look me in the eye. It was like I was a ghost. They couldn't see. The steward told me that my parents had passed away, killed by northerners on some diplomatic mission. Before I knew it, I was signing parchment saying the castle and all the lands of Hungered Pass belonged to me now, and it was now my duty to take care of its people and lead our men into battle to avenge my parents' murder. We were going to war, and I, who had never killed a man, was supposed to lead an army. Then they left me alone, and just like that, no longer young lord, I was Lord Darmand, of the clan Goldrake, keeper of the Hungered Pass. I got a summons from King Durthard himself to join the campaign to avenge my parents' death in a war against the northern barbarians. And suddenly, the fate of my people was on my shoulders. A detachment fresh out of the Imperium Academy arrived with the summons, and I was instructed to ready the defenses of my land, leave some of the detachment to guard the pass, and take the rest post-haste to meet up with Lord Cervic at the northern pass. I was in over my head. I sold my father's crossbow, which I was told should belong in a museum, got enough money to buy food, and pay the wages of my new army. Which basically amounted to, whatever you got for us then, and we were off. But when I arrived at the Northern Pass, all I found was a band of looters going through the supplies that Lord Cervic had left behind, as they marched off to catch the Northerners by their surprise. I'd read a lot about military strategy and the glorious wars of our history, but to be in an actual battle was something else altogether. The sound of the guns going off around me, and that men I had ordered to die, at once felt unreal and all too real.
Soldiers! Mounted archers! Cut them down!
The target was Navant's castle, so that's where we went. When we got there, siege camps were already set up, and the men were preparing to assault the walls. Before I could say a word, my men were mixing into the army. The only thing distinguishing them was my family's gold and red dragon banner flapping in the wind. When I woke up after the battle, my head ringing from whatever blow had knocked me out, I thought that I should feel like a new man, but I felt less sure of myself than ever. The lords congratulated me in the noble's tent on my first battle, mocked me for paying my soldiers whatever they had asked for and not bringing enough food, and told me when we reached Revolt, they would introduce me to an accountant who would handle it all for me. They said a naive young lord like me needs a naive companion, and said I should look for a man named Genolf the Brave in the tavern at Revolt. After that, we were off to capture Maz-Hadan Castle from the barbarians. I'd always heard that compared to our technology and culture, the Northmen were like wolves in the forest, savages that would put up little resistance except for a little growling before you put a bullet in them. But I saw in my first battle that they were not only capable fighters, they excelled at hand-to-hand fighting, and they were plenty deadly with their bows. If anything inside me had changed, it was a loss of the confidence in an easy victory against these savages. In the second battle, I had killed a man, more than one, before taking an axe to the head and waking up in a pool of my own blood, being tended to. Before I knew it, we were off to our next great conquest. Despite almost dying, I had regained my confidence on a favorable outcome for this war. Then as we were traveling to siege the town of Balgard, we were intercepted by an enemy army. They actually put me in charge of some men this time. I was to lead the gunners.
Follow me! Near each other roof! Forward!
I was claimed by a man named Samir, like some loot after a battle. I guess I was. My family name would garner Samir some prestige, if not wealth, when he ransomed me off, or whatever it was he planned to do with me. What he ended up doing was tossing me in a dank cell where I waited for like what felt like an eternity. to be killed or sold, or whatever it is they did with captured nobles. And then my chance came. A guard turned his back on me while he was in my cell, and I strangled him with my bare hands and escaped from the dungeons of Belgard and fled into the woods. Past hordes of looters, scavenged the bodies that littered the area after the battle. Some of those bodies were still breathing. I thought about trying to help them, but I was spotted by the looters, and I was chased to a small village called Algamont, on the outskirts of what was left of the once great empire. And then I followed the river to Mazhadan Castle, where the guards chased off the looters and let me inside to get some food and rest. I sat there staring at the food when suddenly all that had happened over the last week finally caught up with me.